Good morning. Welcome to the OSU Extension Farm Page. I'm Connie Smith, and I'm pleased to be here. Fairfield County Fair, fellow Fair Board Director with me, Cheryl Ricketts.
Hi, Connie. So delighted to have worked with you all week and for months, really, on the 175th.
So, Cheryl, I think a lot of our listeners have heard me talk about the 175 and what that was like, and what it was like to think about building up to that fair. So we're at the end of the week. You and I have our coffee in hand. I mean, we've lived on coffee, we've lived on energy all week. So I keep thinking back about this week, and I keep thinking about how we started 10 months ago, 11 months ago. How did we get started in building our team? How did we do that?
Well, you know, the thing that, one of the things I'm just going to say that I'm really proud of is we have other fairs that have done anniversaries.
Yeah.
And as I had talked to them at the Ohio Fair Managers Association conference, one of the things they said is, you should start 18 months out or 2 years out. You're not going to get this done. And it was because of how we built the team and the enthusiasm that we were able to do it in the time in which we did it. So it actually, one of the early things that really started to build some camaraderie across the team was picking this 175th logo. We put the news out there that we wanted to do a special logo, and you probably have already, somebody's talked about that we had over 150. And then our committee got together to narrow that down to the ones that we wanted to take to the full fair board for the final decision. And you know, there was some differences in opinion of how we should approach what those top ones were. But we worked through that and came up with just a fabulous logo. So thrilled about that. But then we started looking at what people's strengths were and what they loved doing and using their talents, and gave out assignments. But then we kept coming back together to get consensus on how we wanted to move forward and to build that whole sense of trust. And there was some times that we had to kind of rein some energy in, because you know, some of this is about managing how much we were spending, and recognizing we only had so many hours in the day during the fair.
Correct.
It's running a fair just by itself is challenging. To add all the 175th onto it made it a bit more exciting.
Well, yes, and I will say that too. And with a brand new manager,
Oh, yes.
We had to be looking at what was going on. You know, I will say this. When we started this, and they said, you know, this is the committee and this is the chair and blah, 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 and I didn't understand what that meant, but I knew what I wanted it to be. And you and I had long talks about what that should be. And one of the things that we recognized early on was this had to be a celebration of our community.
Yes, it really did. And I was so delighted that through it, we said, how can we say thank you to the community for the support we've gotten? And although clearly nobody's been here 175 years, but their families, many of them have been here for 175 years, and the fair is a tradition to them.
Yes.
And so we wanted to say, thanks for your support and your family's support going back decades,
Yes.
for how you have been engaged and lived at the fair and made memories at the fair. So we have added those extra things to say thank you. So like the 175th fireworks, but then special concerts. We had a concert at the beginning. We had that bigger opening ceremony where we brought back in people that had been important to the fair over the years.
Right.
And then we tried some new things this year to bring more people in. So we had our first ever wiener dog.
Yeah.
We had our first ever Kids Day. And actually, both of those were tremendous successes and were fun to incorporate into the 175th.
I think there's going to be some things that we learned from this event that should carry on.
Oh, absolutely.
There are some things that I think that we felt like became very important and became a part of embracing community. The other thing I think that we learned was team building is really important.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And depending on each other, even though they said I was supposed to be the chair, I'm not anything without my team of Cheryl Ricketts, Sherry Keller, Regina Bressler, Harry Keener, and Randy Fisher, because we all brought different strengths to the table. I have told my extension colleagues many times over the past year, be thankful that you work for extension, because it can be a thankless job, but you do know how to run a meeting. You do know how to build consensus. You do know how to do all those things. And when you think about 16 members of a board who are in a variety of different occupations, but they all have the same energy and love and passion for the fair, trying to rein that in is sometimes difficult.
Well, and one of the things that I thought went so well was the communication with the board at the monthly board meetings, saying this is what we're thinking about doing, and getting their buy-in. And part of that, why I went back to the 175th, was that was the first thing that we asked, that and our merchandising, our special 175th
The
items.
ornament,
Yes, the t-shirts, the sweatshirts, the mugs, all of those things that people got and said, okay, yeah, people would like those. And we have found lots of support for those things.
Yeah, and the one thing we haven't shown you yet is we had magnets made of all the historic buildings.
Yes.
So we're going to roll some of that stuff out after the fair, just because the fair was so busy. But, there are some things I think that some of you are going to want to purchase as holiday gifts for your family, like the ornaments, maybe the mugs. We might consider ordering more shirts. If you tell us you want that, we're glad to do that. So the final question about this 175 fair that I think it's going to be hard for me to ask, and it's going to be hard for you to answer. I know it is. We've seen each other in really good times and really bad times during planning.
Yes, we have.
We both have said that.
Yeah, it's not always been easy.
No, it's not been easy. But what did it mean to you from the perspective of your peers thought you could do this? What does it mean to be a part of that committee?
I'm probably going to lose it here, so I'm going to
okay.
One of the things that's been so special is there were people that I hadn't worked closely with on the fair board, and it gave me an opportunity to get to know them as people, to see their talents, to have conversations with them where we had healthy dialogue, where we didn't always agree, but we saw each other's perspectives, which is certainly part of team building. But the other thing I'm going to tell you that made this special to me, and this goes back to family, my dad was on the fair board for 53 years, and to have a chance I know that when I think back to the people that preceded us on the board, they would be proud of the work that we did to represent the community, to represent these people that are here on the grounds, the concessionaires, our visitors, and the other board members historically who want this fair to continue for another 175 years. And we needed to do it well. One of the things I want to talk about is just the fact that Cindy Smith, the frame shop, she and her husband, they came in and said, you've got some treasures that are not preserved well. And although we paid them a tiny bit of money for the resource, the supplies that they use, they donated all their time. So that's one of the things that our committee did, is say, let's figure out a way to conserve things, preserve them, so that they'll be around for the 200th, the 225th, 250th. those things would not have been around had we not done the work that we did.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud of that, Connie.
Yeah, I'm proud. The other thing I'm proud of is I don't think you realized, unless you entered at the fair, we touched every
Oh, yes, we
element
did.
of the fair.
Yes, we did.
So if you won a rosette, you probably saw the 175 logo in that rosette.
Yes.
If you won an A, B, or C, chances are you got to see some of those special ribbons. And like the lapel pin that Cheryl has on, everybody that entered open class got one of those. So we went about it in the fact that we're going to touch everything in some little way, and we didn't spend a lot of money doing that. You know, we had to buy those ribbons and rosettes anyway. So why not make them a little more unique? For me, I had a great uncle that was on the board, served as president. And I can barely remember coming to the fair with him and taking a generational photo. But what I remember the most is thinking, how do we build community with this? How do we let the community know we recognize what this fair is? We recognize how important it is. But I want you to know, I want you to be on this fairgrounds not 1 week in October. I want you to be here 365 days of the year. I want you to feel welcome.
Yes. And the getting people on for our historic building tour.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, doing the scarecrow contest or training.
Yeah.
How do you put a scarecrow together?
Right.
There were some fabulous things that got people to the fairgrounds, and we hoped, because this is a 365-day-a-year place,
Yeah.
and we hope people recognize it's not a 7 or 8 day.
No, and you know what? You're going to see us in more parades. I'm telling you right now, the parades were the key. I've got some naysayers on the board with that, but we're going to make that happen. My pleasure today on the OSU Extension Farm Page to bring you my good friend Cheryl Ricketts live in the Art Hall, last day of the Fairfield County Fair. You needed to hear what went on behind the scenes to make the 2025 fair one that you won't forget. And we want to thank you, sincerely thank the community for loving us, for being a part of what we do. And, you know, come back, tell us what to do different. Yeah, just come back to the fair.
Yeah.